Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. Today we're going to be looking at my recommendations for decks you should play in BT16. We already talked about what decks I will potentially be playing, but this is if you want to win in BT16 and you want to play, for the most part, new cards. These are my recommendations. So starting off with the obvious man himself, Magnamon X Antibody. He is a level 6. He is yellow, blue, black. He digivolves for 2 on a 2-color Magnamon for 5, or for 4 on any level 5 of his colors. He has blocker Armor Purge. When digivolving, if Magnamon X Antibody or a card with Armor Form trait is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, this Digimon isn't affected by your opponent's effects. It gets 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn, and you unsuspend this Digimon. All turns, once per turn, when a card is removed from the security stack, you may activate one of this Digimon's when digivolving effects. It is also treated as having free. It is an X Antibody and a Royal Knight. So that's all the relevant information about the card. And if you couldn't gather from all of the million keywords and text this card has, this is undisputably the best card in this set, and probably going to be the best deck in this set. It is just really, really, really difficult to remove from the board when it exists, and primarily the only way you're going to do that is by swinging over it and then blocking, or using a keyword like Raid to swing over it without being blocked. So you're kind of removing your opponent's choice. Raid is a game effect. It is not a Digimon effect. So I believe you can still raid into armor forms and the Magnamon-X. So armor is already really, really strong in the current meta. This just kind of makes it better. You can either play this card as a free armored Digivolution deck with Gmon, or you can go the yellow vaccine route and get a ton of free value. You play the blinding arrays to trash your security when you want, make yourself perpetually immune. You're a big blocker with Armor Purge, really difficult to remove. And I just think that this is probably the deck to beat in the meta. Next, we have Rapidmon X, in the same vein as Magnamon-X. Either this or Tyrant is probably the second best card. I really think that it's probably this one because it has access to the vaccine engine. It is a level 6 with Armor Purge. When digivolving, suspend all of your opponent's Digimon, then this Digimon may attack. All turns while Rapidmon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, all of your opponent's suspended Digimon get minus 4k, and then all turns once per turn when an opponent's Digimon is deleted in battle or by having 0 DP, you gain 2 memory. So the Rapidmon deck already really, really likes DP reduction. And at the moment, you kind of just DP reduce and then Blast Ace into the Mega Gargo, and you stop your opponent from doing things, and then you swing over things, or bounce them, or de-digivolve them. And this just kind of makes your opponent's board perpetually small and gives you a bunch of memory back when you pop bodies. The minus 4k on your opponent's suspended all turns is really good too, because it makes it hard to swing over this, because you're going to get minus 4k when you try, and then it's going to Armor Purge, so it's going to deny things like Dorugoramon. So I think that this is also just a really, really strong card, and it's also going to be one of the harder decks to beat in the meta. And like I said, it just benefits from the free value of the vaccine engine. You could probably play it green, but honestly, the yellow vaccine is just going to be the way to play it. Next, we have Tyrant Kabutar. This is a level 6 green Digimon. Cost 6 to digivolve on a level 5, or 2 for a on top of a level 6 with Insectoid of play cost 13 or less. So basically your Tyrant Kabutar or Hercules Kabutar want to go together. So when digivolving, you may play one Digimon card with the Insectoid or Larva trait from your hand with the play cost reduced by 8. All turns while this Digimon is suspended, it isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon, and then end of turn by suspending one of your other Digimon, you can return one of your opponent's Digimon with less DP or equal to the DP of this Digimon suspended by this effect to the bottom of the deck. So all that is to say, you put this on a level 6 ideally. You're going to play a Digimon with Insectoid or Larva for play cost 8, and then you're going to suspend that Digimon to bounce something. And then this card is not affected by effects. This card is kind of like a mini Magnamon. It's not affected by Digimon effects. It is still affected by option cards. However, you can also set up a Shivamon to lock your opponent out of using options and affecting Tyrant Kabutar with Digimon effects. So the only way they can really deal with this is by swinging over it. But this deck wants to make Tyrant Kabutar really big with inheritables that give plus 1k DP while it's suspended. And then you use the new BT15 Izzy to redirect attacks into this. So you can set up a board state where the opponent can't use options, they can't really swing over Tyrant Kabutar easily, and they can't affect it with Digimon effects. And it's just really, really hard to deal with, and you're going to get to play out your bodies. With the when digivolving effect, you have the access to the new Blast Ace Grand Kawagamon. It's just a really strong deck that wants to swing with big bodies and assert itself as a really dominant presence. And you don't even get the typical interaction would be if you swing with a big body, now it's suspended, it's vulnerable, and it's your opponent's turn to do something. This kind of denies that because of your ability to redirect attacks into it. So it's just oppressive at all stages of the game. I think it's probably it'll definitely win something. I think it's just going to be about how people adapt to the best of 3 meta here versus the Japanese meta being best of 1. This deck will either get better or worse with that, I think. So whoever figures out how to play this in a best of 3 against Yellow Vaccine, you know, Magna X or Rapid X, I think is going to have a great time. Next, I want to talk about Imperial Dron. It is a very, very good deck. So Imperial Dron Fighter Mode Ace, on play and when digivolving, return one of your opponent's Digimon with as many or fewer Digivolution cards than this Digimon to the bottom of the deck, and then end of attack, you can unsuspend this Digimon. If Dragon Mode is in your Digivolution cards, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. So generically, you're going to be bouncing something to somebody's hand because this is a DNA deck. You're going to probably be DNAing into the Pyldramon or Dinobemon. And at the end of attack, you're going to be able to bounce something that's suspended. So this is just a really, really strong deck. It is winning. I believe it did win a good chunk of events in the JP meta. So I anticipate it to be pretty good here as well. Lastly, kind of a not really BT16 deck, but I think this will perform really well in BT16, is BT12 War Greymon. So this card has Raid, and when digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, you get 3k DP and Reboot, and when attack target is switched to unsuspend this Digimon, like I said earlier, Raid, you can still Raid into Magnamon-X, and you get plus 3k DP, and you're going to have DP boosts in your stack. So it is totally possible for you to be bigger than this Magnamon-X, and then because your attack target switch, you're going to unsuspend. So this will Armor Purge, go into something else, and then you're going to be able to attack it again, and then possibly kill it. So that seems really good. And then if we consider Rapidmon X Antibody, well, the biggest obstacle here is, again, it has Armor Purge, but we know we're unsuspending, so we're going to attack it twice. But the minus 4k is kind of a problem. But War Greymon here gets plus 3k DP. So we only need to come up with 1k DP to be bigger than the Rapidmon X in our inheritables. And with all of the Agumons and the Greymons available that give DP boosts, that seems really, really doable. So I think you can also swing over this Rapidmon X Antibody without a problem. Tyrant Kabutar doesn't really... I mean, if you get redirected into Tyrant Kabutar, you should be bigger. I mean, with all the DP boosts available, I think this is going to be a stack diff. If you have a good stack, you should be able to swing over it. If you don't, you might be smaller than Tyrant Kabutar. But I would have to look at what pieces you have available. I think that's totally doable, though. Out of this matchup, I would expect Tyrant Kabutar to be maybe the hardest for War Greymon. Just, I think, again, it depends on your stack. And then Fighter Mode, I mean, with all the X Antibodies in War Greymon, you could have a stack that is bigger than the DNA stack on Fighter Mode, and then it wouldn't be able to return you to bottom deck. And then if you're raiding into this anyways, it can't end of attack trigger because you've raided into it and stopped the blast trigger from happening. So I think War Greymon should be a consideration for a card that you play if you want something that's kind of off meta, or maybe a rogue deck of sorts. I know War Greymon is always good, and every meta people play it. But I think this meta has a really strong case for War Greymon making an impact, or any raid level 6 for that matter. Greymon Tribal just has DP boost and raid, which make it the biggest raiding body available, which I think matches up well into a lot of these decks. That being said, there's probably plenty of other BT15 decks that are still going to be good, like Numemon, I'm sure will still be good, and with the Valkyrmon Ace that can go on top, that'll probably be great. Lugomon will probably still be good as well, but those are my recommendations for decks I think you guys should play. Let me know what you guys are planning to play in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.